Hey everyone, I just want to welcome everyone to the Linda Lowdown. Today we have my friend. She was also a client, Jennifer, and she is a police officer. And we're going to talk about being in the police force and what it's like as a woman to be in the police force. Go.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So I have to tell a story. I always have to tell the story because I always there's always certain memories. So she's a police officer, and when I would show her houses, she would walk in the house like she is casing the gate. She would be in and out of the door so fast, and I would be like, "Slow down! Like it's okay. We're not getting, we're not. It's not a drug raid." And then and then she was like a little kid and she would be so excited. She's like, I need this house. I want this house. It didn't matter if the house was falling down or whatever. And I would literally have to grab her by her shoulders and tell her, focus, focus. And I'd be like, we're leaving.
Yeah.
But we finally found you the perfect house and you're still in there. So, so anyway, so we're going to start off by the opening. Would just kind of tell us a little about yourself and what led you to become a police officer.
Well, my name is Jennifer Henderson. And I've always been a high energy, spastic person, but I always wanted to, bring people together. I wanted peace, if you will. And so I think that's what initially led me into thinking about being a police officer, on top of some other things we'll go into later. But what led me into being a police officer is the fact that I wanted to help people. And if I could help them find peace and I can help them look at their situation and give them information that they might need, little seeds to plant to make their life better, to get out of the position they're in. And I say this because it took me, I had to find people that could teach me how to get the things that I wanted. I would look at the people who drive nice cars. I would look at people who had houses, and I wonder how they had those things, because my childhood is rocky, turbulent, childhood trauma, domestic violence, if you will, and poverty. And poverty is big for me. I didn't want to live the way I was living anymore. And so I did make my way out, and I want to be for the people out here what I so desperately needed when I was a child, help me get out of my situation. So what perfect way to do that than interacting with the community every day in a police capacity. And I also, I'm not a stranger to drama and violence and people going crazy. So this was absolutely a job that I knew what to expect, and I thought from a very young age that I would be able to handle. Okay. And back to myself, I do have two children, two teenage boys, and I think that's about it to me.
You work and you take care of your kids.
Yeah, I'm sure do.
It's like everyone else. There's no time for fun. So was there a specific moment in your life that made you decide this was a career for you? Like something that said, yep, this is exactly what I want to do.
Yes. So I have a family member. He's my second cousin. His name was Bill Henderson. He was a Canton police officer, and his zone was my neighborhood. So when I was younger, he would come by, find us kids out of our boundaries, take us back home. But one thing he always did was got us something to eat. And that was huge for me. And I needed that, I needed that support, and he gave it to us. And we didn't get the pleasure of having fast food, So he would always say, well, I'll get you something to eat, hop in, and we'll be in the back of the police car, One day we were in the back of the police car and he got a call. So he took us with him, and he said, "You guys stay down back there. I'm going to go handle this call." If my brother and I. So I was peeking my head up. I wanted to see what he was doing out there, and he handled it so majestically. And the people were irate, all up in arms, and it was crazy because the way that he de-escalated these folks, I said I could do that one day. And the problem, he went out there, he mediated the situation, got back in the car like nothing happened, and we continued our day. He took us back home, and I was like, that was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And that is the day I said, I'm going to do that one day. And especially with his mentorship and guidance, and he knew what type of life we were living as children, and he really wanted to be that positive impact. So he absolutely did that. He recently passed away, and I got to see him before he left, and he said, make sure you get that promotion. So maybe one day.
One day. Before becoming a police officer, what did you think the job would be like? And how did that, so what you thought and then what in reality it is, what's the difference?
Well, when I got on this job, the job was exactly how I pictured it. Again, because I'm no stranger to police contact when I was younger. The police always seemed to be around, and, somebody in my situation, in my family, there was always fighting, and, police interaction was no stranger to me. And so I'm going in as a younger person thinking, we're going to go catch all the bad guys, the interaction with my cousin, I saw that there's two different sides of policing, and I expected both of them. So there wasn't, based off my background and the things that I've been through, I knew what to expect, and it was almost exactly that. If I could say anything, I would say I didn't expect so much mental health. I didn't know that we would have to deal with so many different mental health cases, and people in their different emotions and struggles, and so mental health is huge right now. I could say that.
Yeah, I would say that. Okay, so now we're going to talk about stereotypes. So when most people hear about police officers, they think it's man. So what has your experience been like as a woman in this field?
Well, me going into this profession, it absolutely is a male-dominated profession. However, I didn't have any issues. No issues
nothing.
going in. I feel like once you go in there and your coworkers know that you will do the job, and they can trust that that I have their back, and they know I can manage myself. It was smooth sailing for me, and my coworkers are incredible. And other people's opinions may vary, but me going into my police department was a smooth transition, and they knew I could do the job, and I feel like I couldn't have asked for more. I didn't have any issues. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, like way before I got into real estate, I was in another business, and it was very male dominant, and I was not treated as an equal. So that's good that you were treated that way.
I have heard stories, but thankfully for me, I've never had to deal with all of the negativity like that, and regarding sexes, male, female. Nobody's ever treated me like I'm incompetent or unable to do the job.
Well, that's really good. Yeah, that's really good. So what strengths do women bring to law enforcement that people might not realize?
Well, I think that, women bring a softness to policing. When you go on a call and someone is irate and angry and they just are so hyped up, a calm voice can bring them down. And I feel like, sometimes men have that aggression and that male competition. And so when they see a female, it catches them off guard. And then you can slowly watch them calm down. I think it's a de-escalation tactic 100%. Women are crucial in this profession. And I feel like communication, number one. My opinion is women have, well, the women that I work with, I feel like we have more patience. So we can de-escalate the situation because most people just want to be heard. They just want to tell their side of the story and they want someone else to understand what they're going through. They want someone to understand why they did what they did. So they just need an ear to listen, even if you're making an arrest. They just want to feel heard. And so you can arrest someone calmly, and they'll still appreciate you, number one, because you listened to them. They felt heard, and they'll respect you more, even if you're taking them to jail.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, did anyone ever try to talk you out of being a police officer?
Well,
I guess that's a yes.
No.
No.
I would say most people knew that I was going to do this. I was absolutely determined for many years. I said, one day I will be a police officer. So I don't think anyone would have had the courage to try to talk me out of it, because I think I would have put my foot down. And because it was a goal and I was going to make it happen,
And here you are. You did it. How long have you been a police officer now?
I've been on 11 years. I got hired as a law enforcement officer January 2015.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to go behind the badge. What is something about police work that the public would be surprised to learn? Because, everyone thinks you're at the donut shop and the coffee shop all the time.
Well, I think that most people think that we are just out making arrests all day and things of that nature. And the fact of the matter is, your adrenaline may be going 5% of the time, and 95% of the time is communication. Just stopping to talk to people. Hey, how are you? In the donut shop, making friends with the cashier.
In the donut shop.
Yeah, I think maybe the community would be surprised to know that our cruiser is our office, a mobile office. And we spend most of our time in the cruiser. And,
You're just out with the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it's not always about, we're going to find you and we're going to take you to jail. We're not always enforcing. Sometimes we're doing proactive measures and just talking to people. Yeah. How can we help you? How can we help your neighborhood? Things like that.
That's good. So now what are some of the most rewarding moments you've experienced in your job? You're laughing or smiling there.
Just because there's so many things that make this job absolutely amazing. And I could give you many examples. One in particular, I had an individual who was overdosing, and I do believe that I was out 2 times in 1 week for an overdose. But this particular time, the individual was not responsive. We had to administer Narcan, and I thought this particular call was bleak. I didn't think we were going to have a positive outcome. Thankfully, the individual did respond to Narcan. We followed medics to the hospital, and he made it, the person made it. So I said, we should be planning your funeral today,
And I could see you saying that too.
I said, I'm so happy you're alive because I thought that your family's going to be notified really soon and they'd have to plan the funeral. Well, it was that message that I said to him. And a few months later, I saw him and he said, the message that what you said to me kicked me in gear. And I realized that there's a reason I'm here. I'm alive. And so that day I gave him a Bible verse. It was on a card. And I said, I'm glad you're okay. And I hope you continue your sobriety. And 5 years went by and he came and found me and showed me the same card that he keeps with him daily.
Oh, really?
And he is still sober
Oh, that's
to
so
this
wonderful.
day. I think we're at 7 or 8 years now with his sobriety, but he always makes it a point to say, you saved my life. And me, thinking about how powerful that statement is, it's like, God put me here for a reason. There was a reason I had an intense need to be a police officer, an intense desire. And I just kept running back, even after backslides, I failed the academy the first time around. I had to go back.
Oh, really?
And I thought it was the end of the world. And my desire came back hard. And because I was going to walk away, that was painful.
Oh.
And nope, get back on your feet, tie your bootstraps, pull up your big girl panties. Here we go. And I did it again. So the other rewards are young people coming back when they're adults and saying, hey, you made an impact on me. So when I started, most of the kids that I interacted with, around the 8 or 10 years old, they're 20, they're young adults, and some of them have surpassed expectations and they're doing very well. I love getting those stories. I love getting emails saying, hey, you made an impact on me. Thank you. So that's just that.
And it's like you helping, like how you got out, they're getting out.
Absolutely.
Because they're doing better for themselves.
And that's my goal, is to just put little seeds, plant little seeds, because coming from a place of poverty, and I tell people all the time, I've lived in multiple low-income housing in Canton. I've lived in Highland Park, Jackson Sherrick, Mahoning Manor, Ellisdale. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get things that respected adults had. I had no idea. I thought I was going to school just to give my mom and my grandma a break. I had no idea that I'm there to set up success. I had no idea that this could lead to something bigger. So, being able to say, hey, here's the steps to take if you want it. And, it plants seeds in young people's minds to say, I can do better. Because I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
People had to teach me, and I'm so thankful for those people.
And I remember when we closed on your house, you were very emotional too, because that was something you did not expect to have in your life either.
Yeah. A homeowner, that's incredible for where I came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to go on the human side. So how do you mentally separate work from home life after a difficult shift?
This question is, it's hard sometimes, and it takes a lot of discipline, and it took time for me to learn this discipline, because how do I leave the hardest thing I've ever seen? How do I leave it and go home and pretend like nothing bad happened today? And go home and raise my children as if I had a perfect day? It took a lot of discipline, but both of my kids know about when I get home, I take 30 minutes to an hour to completely unwind. They leave me be, and then we go about our day, whether we're going to baseball, basketball, maybe we're going to grab something to eat, but what I do is I intentionally leave it there, and I can come back to it tomorrow. And there, discipline, like I said, but I'm a firm believer in meditation. tactical breathing. I will sit down and absolutely regulate my body emotions to get them down to baseline. If I'm coming from work on a extremely
Bad day.
chaotic day, if it was a sad day, did we have to fight today? So it takes work and it takes discipline, but if you learn how to do it, it's easy. I get to go home to my smiling kids. I have good kids. And so dealing with negativity sometimes for most of the day, coming home is
A plus.
it's a plus, and I'm not bringing that home to my children. So that's how do I do it? I intentionally leave it where it's at. It took time, but it can be
Yes,
done.
it is hard to do that. So what has this career taught you about people?
Well,
Besides, we're all crazy.
self-included, I'll never judge anyone. Never, because the one thing I always say is everybody is going through something. And I've always felt like karma hits me instantly every time. If I do something, I feel like I'm paying for it, and I'm not mad about that. I think it's actually a blessing. But to answer the question, I feel like let me see, people. I'm trying to answer this in a way that doesn't sound terrible, but it's hard for me to trust people because hurt people hurt people. So I've put up a shelter, I suppose, if you will, because I don't want anyone to be able to hurt me in any particular way. So on a call, for instance, if somebody, this one's hard because I don't want to say anything that sounds terrible, but hurt people. They're going to say the worst things that anybody can say to another human. And so what I've learned is that you have to put a wall up, because as much as I want to help people, people hurt people. And so I think in this job, what I've learned about people is that I have to understand that everybody's going through something, and I can't take these things personally. And not everybody is mean, but
Yeah, I get it though, because like there are situations with me, even like some people, they just are doing everything wrong, but expect you to take care of them without helping themselves.
you helped me. Thank you.
We all messed up, right? But yeah, like I understand about helping people that are in a situation and they want to be helped, like they're trying. But then there are the people that are in situations, but they're not there. They want you to help them, but they don't want to do anything.
They're going to help themselves. Absolutely. And that's a situation that I've learned. I can give the option to you. I will help you when you're ready. Here's my name. Here's my number.
Mm-hmm.
When you're ready for whatever the task is that accountability? Is that, self-discipline? Is it going to be anger issues? Is it going to be, do you need help getting sober? Do you need information on for housing? Mm-hmm. When you're ready, I'll be there. I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to force you, but I will be there when you're ready, type of thing. And I don't want to say anything negative. So I think that covered it.
Yep.
With what I'm trying to say.
Yep, I got it. I got what you're putting down.
People can be mean.
Yes,
and,
they can.
That's what I've learned about people.
Yes. All right. So now we're going on like the community perspective. Okay. What can everyday citizens do to help build better relationships with police officers?
This is a good question. In today's age, the community has trust issues with the police. And I think that the number one thing that the community can do is walk up to that officer and talk to him. You will be shocked to know that there's a human behind that badge. And I work with some incredible men and women. And I think that sometimes we're hidden behind a perception, that a negative perception. And, you know, with everything, sometimes you have your bad apples. My police department is an amazing group of people. We do have a great department. We have great training, and we have great stats. So what the community can do is just go up to them and talk to them and see what's going on. But what the community has to understand is we are here to enforce the law. So when you make a mistake, you know, when you do something that's breaking the law and we have to take you to jail, don't hate us for it. Take responsibility for your own actions, and you will find that you know, police officers are people too, but this is our job. This is what we put this badge on for, is to enforce the laws and help where we can. But we're not the enemy.
I always run up and hug you when I see you.
I love it.
I love to you. All right. So, what do you wish more people understood about the job?
I wish that people understood that, again, we're humans behind this badge. And, you know, on a regular day, I mean, in a regular span of an officer's career, a citizen faces 1 to 4 critical incidences, post-traumatic stress incidences, incidences that make you want to fight, flight, or flee, you know, those critical trauma incidences. Police officers throughout their career can face anywhere between 500 and 800. The numbers vary depending on what source you're looking at, but the fact of the matter is our brains aren't wired to see the things that officers see on a daily basis. So yes, some officers, you know, have a hard time dealing with some of the things, and that's why my department especially is so strong on mental health. It's not their fault. It's not my fault. You know, my brain wasn't wired for this. Those are, you know, critical incidences that imprint on your brain, and it can cause stress. And, you know, fearing for your life in that instant is not a small feat, if that's the right word. It's yes, officers go through things, and when you're giving me a choice, I mean, when I'm faced with a dangerous choice, I have 2 children to go home to. I have to go home to those children. So what I wish people knew is that officers deal with things mentally, and, you know, with the training that we're given, you know, we have the tools to handle it, but it's a tough job. Mm-hmm. You know, you could have 3 to 5 incidences in a day. So what I would want people to know is that the things that we're shielding you from seeing things that we see every day. And be patient, if you will. If be patient with an officer. Let us get the job done. Let us get the scene clear. No, we're not, I don't know. I think people think that we're robots and that, you know, officers are just out here to get somebody in trouble and all the things, but that's not the case. The case is we have to get a job done. We have to get it done tactically sound. We have to get it done safely, and understand that we have emotions that are going on at the exact same time that we have to regulate quickly, remain professional, and then get back to treating the public as if our brains aren't currently trying to get
Right.
back to baseline after things. So does that make sense? I think
Yeah.
I went through like five
Yeah.
things all mixed up.
Well, I know I mean, I will throw up if at the sight of blood. So like, I just don't, I know I am not cut out for that job. I would never be able to handle, death way or, just everything that goes on. And so I applaud you guys. I know it's hard mentally, but don't ask me to be your job. Do your job.
Okay, so no ride along?
I can sell houses, but I cannot ride along, okay? Unless we're going somewhere fun, okay?
The donut shop.
Oh yeah, the donut shop. Make sure it's a good coffee place too,
Yes.
okay? All right, so now we're gonna have some fun.
Okay.
So what do you do? What do you enjoy doing after you're off duty? What do you do?
Well, if I got to choose the activity, I love nature. I'm not talking about going on a long hike, okay? We're just going a little bit into the woods. But no, I do love to surround myself with the outdoors. Again, we're just walking in.
Walking in, walking back out.
We're not going too far in there. I don't want to see the bears.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But I enjoy, just being surrounded by nature and the birds and the wind and the rustling of the leaves. That's very grounding for me. And it's, I I get that, you know, adrenaline rush like riding. I used to love to ride fast, and my mom told me I could get a bike. Finally, after I became an officer, and the things I have seen though on bikes, I changed my mind, and but that adrenaline rush is what nature gives to me.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll invite you to my patio and you can sit on my patio out there.
man, I would love
I'll make you some Blackstone breakfast or
Oh.
something.
Good place for meditation.
Yes. Yes. So you only hear the birds chirping. So what helps you unwind after a stressful day? It's probably what we talked about, your meditation and your breathing. And
Absolutely. Breathing is number one. And if I could teach anyone about breathing, I will do that. But yep, meditation. I love to surround myself with particular lighting. People at my job know, oh, the light's too bright. I got to fix it. With aromas, eucalyptus is my go-to. Lavender as well. But that absolutely puts me in a mindset that is like peaceful. And that's what I want when I get off of work. I want peace. And I demand peace, actually. So that's what I do.
okay. So if someone met you after work somewhere, what would be one of the surprising things they would learn about you? Besides you being crazy.
I know.
Besides being crazy.
Yes, if they saw me at work, but then saw me out of work and saw my regular personality, I think that would shock some people. My community pretty much knows who I am. I've been here, bouncing around here my whole life, but I am very outgoing, and
No.
and I like to tell jokes, usually bad ones, but it's okay.
It's okay.
And very high energy. Did I say that already?
Yeah.
What else about me? I don't know. Yeah.
And I've always loved working with you. So, and your personality, you have a good personality. You're full of energy, sometimes a little too much, and I have to bring you back down. But, and you're very personable. Like, I've seen you out on the streets working and stuff, and I always see you like talking with people and stuff. So, that's something I admire about you.
Yeah.
All right. Quick questions.
Okay.
Coffee or energy drinks?
Unfortunately, energy drinks.
It's like you need more energy drinks.
I do get tired, I promise.
Day shift or night shift?
It's hard. For regular life day shift, for the action night shift. It was
Oh, really?
Can I pick both?
Okay. Favorite comfort food after being on a long
Chicken
trip?
Alfredo.
Really?
Yep. No, shrimp Alfredo.
Shrimp?
Chicken and shrimp.
Do you go out or do you make it?
Both. Um, I don't know if I can say it on here, but Lobies makes a superb chicken Alfredo. I'll go order that and take it back home with blackened chicken. That's my comfort food. So, if I'm having a cheat day, well, it's probably chicken or shrimp Alfredo.
All right, this is the last question.
Okay.
If you could share one message with people listening about policing and community safety, what would it be?
This one's hard. The first thing, there's two: accountability, and we need to stop the stigma of see nothing, say nothing. I believe that we need safe neighborhoods. We need our community to feel safe in their home. I hear so many people say, I heard the gunshots and I just got down on my floor. You shouldn't have to get down on your floor, you know? Even in the low income neighborhoods, that is your home and you need to feel safe. So we live in a society where people will not hold those responsible who are terrorizing neighborhoods. You don't deserve for, and I'm not naming anyone specifically, but say gangbangers, for instance, they're causing terror in your neighborhood. And if you know something or see something, it does not have to be very public. You know, you don't have to go out and talk to the police and tell them. But we're striving for safe communities here. And we do have crime. We are crime reduction. You know, our stats are going down, but it's for the safety of the community, for your grandchildren, for your children. You know, for instance, what if you knew what happened and you didn't say anything, and a couple of days later, the next victim is your family member? Our community is a beautiful place and we need to help make it safer. We need to hold people accountable, which leads me into my next. Our parents have they're straying away from holding their children accountable. There was a time where you would hear someone talk and say, "Would you kiss your grandma with that mouth?" And now the children are mirroring their parents and they're both, you know, absolutely authority. They have no respect for authority. And if I could have parents understand that their behavior is shaping their child. And yes, your child is cussing out the teacher because that's what you're doing. Does that make sense? If we could have parents hold their children accountable instead of being their friends, discipline our babies because we need a strong foundation when we're leaving, when we're leaving this earth. So it breaks my heart to be on a scene and see that child has probably lived in trauma mode, fight or flight mode, their whole life because their parents have them so discombobulated, dysregulated, up and down.
And I think that too comes from somewhere in society that whole thing is lost because, I'm sure those parents were taught that way from their parents. So at some point it's just got to stop and there has to be a better parenting skills.
Absolutely. And I think this comes with breaking generational curses. I'm thankful. I love my parents. My mom has passed. I love my parents, but they were teenagers raising children. So their dysfunction grew. So while our babies are so small and their brain is just now starting to develop, grow, intake information, they're only intaking bad things. And these bad things are imprinting in them, which causes a deep, a
Scar, like it's emotional scar.
tell me the word. Yes. They're developing into what they think is normal. This dysfunction is not normal. And this is where I needed someone to help me say, hey, you can have more than what you have now. And this is not normal. And this is normal. And this is not normal. I didn't know that beds were supposed to have holders when I was little. That bed has a holder. It's a bed frame. Okay. And so, I thought those beds are on jacks. I didn't understand. And so I had a goal when I got older. I would like to have a bed frame, and the same thing goes for the behavior. I didn't know about bed frames. I didn't know that you're supposed to treat people with respect. I had to learn that. And so the parents aren't holding the children accountable. They're not respectful to teachers, to law enforcement, to anybody of authority. And those are the people that are trying to help them grow. So if they can't respect those people, firefighters, mailmen, adults, elderly people in general, if they can't respect them, where are they going?
Exactly.
What do they have to look forward to?
They don't, because this is all they know. This is what they see in their parents is what they think. That's the way we're supposed to treat people. So,
and that's why I strive to find people that had what I wanted. That's why I appreciate my cousin so much. He drove such a beautiful car, and there was one lady who used to come pick us up. My sister and I, the first thing she would do is put us in the bathtub. Most beautiful, cozy house. She made breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The house smelled like homemade bread all the time, and it was like finding peace. Being in her house. When Sunday morning would come, she'd put on the most beautiful dresses for us. We'd go to church. We'd get to go to kids group. After that, we'd go straight back, take our church clothes off. We'd go out to lunch, and then we would go do something that I've never experienced. I'm talking about pumpkin patches. We went to Christmas tree expos. We went to Amish country. I got to see farm animals up close for the first time. I've never seen that before, so I want to emulate. You know the word. What she has, what her and her husband have. They have a beautiful family. They're both very calm. They have a love for the Lord like you wouldn't believe, and that's the peace that I sought so hard to find. And it was rough in my juvenile years, but I knew what I had to look forward to. So, along with that bed frame, I didn't want a box for a trash can or a grocery bag. I wanted a metal trash can because I saw one of those. Okay, and so that was one of the goals I had, is to
have a real garbage can.
A real garbage. That's my success. I want my bed off the floor, and I want a metal garbage.
You should have told me. I would have given you that as a closing gift. Instead of a sign, I would have brought you a metal garbage can. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure seeing you again, and I hope this does help a lot of people in our community and stuff like that. And so, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was like, yes, I'll be ready to do it. And
after we got the okay.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So.
My chief is amazing, and he's doing great things with our department. And I mean, it's definitely a blessing.
That's good. Got you out of trouble.
Oh, 100%, and we won't go there, but you're not lying.
Right.
My police department is an amazing place, and, we're really working heavily on training right now, and mental health training. They've implemented a complete program, and anything that anyone needs, they just have to say it because it's there now. I think that's one beautiful thing that our chief has implemented, and I mean,
that's good.
I know.
And if anyone's that's listening to this and wants to learn more about becoming a police officer, or even if it's a woman or a young lady that is thinking about it, reach out to Jen. She would be more than happy to help you out and
Absolutely.
give you ideas.
I will plant all the seeds that I can to help an individual who wants better for themselves, because it is possible. It takes discipline, and you have to do the work. But if you want better, I can help you because I've been there and I've done that.
All
Thank
right,
you.
everyone. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.